Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Aquí tienen las instrucciones al proyecto Autobiographical Presentation de niño or de niña como eras. This project is very, very simple. And if you've been locked in for the past couple weeks and you've been doing your warm-ups and taking notes, I think you'll find this project to be very easy and straightforward. It is a autobiographical presentation of what you were like as a kid. And in your presentation, you need to provide responses to these 5 questions. And I think all of them except for one we've done as warm-up questions together. So you can look back at wherever you're keeping your warm-up responses in your notes, or maybe in a running Google Doc. Look at those responses, and I think that'll be the obvious place to begin this project. Let's go through the 5 questions together, and then what I'm looking for in terms of your response in regards to the grade that you want to receive. And I'm going to kind of focus on the 90 to 100% area. That's the highest grade, obviously, that you can get. And if you want to settle for less, then you can look at the criteria in the other categories. But I'm going to focus on this highest percentile. First question, ¿Cómo eras tú? Or put another way, the title of the project, De niño or de niña. ¿Cómo eras? What were you like as a kid? Use 5 adjectives to describe your personality and or appearance from when you were a kid. If you go to the daily agenda for, let's see, A days, it would be April 8th. B days, it would be April 9th. That was your warm-up question. De niño, de niña, ¿cómo eras? So you're going to begin your response by saying, well, de niño, de niña, right, as a kid. De niño, de niña, yo era, and then pick 5 adjectives. Now, the one thing you want to keep in mind, no matter the adjective you use, the adjective should agree in gender. Think back to the very first question you guys answered this academic year, which was ¿Cómo eres? Using the present tense of ser, right? Because you were describing, what you're like now. This question, in the imperfect, asking what you were like as a kid, but the same concept of gender agreement still applies, right? You want to make sure that your adjectives agree with the gender that you identify with, unless you're using a gender-neutral adjective where it would end in E regardless. Okay, so if you want that 90 to 100%, list 5 adjectives, provide 5 adjectives, again, that all agree in gender. Second question, ¿Qué te gustaba hacer en tus ratos libres? Indicate 5 things you used to like to do in your free time. And I think that was one of the first questions. Yeah. Daily agenda from Monday the 29th for A days, or Tuesday to the 30th for B days. Question was, de niño, ¿qué te gustaba hacer en tus ratos libres? You indicated 3 verbs, but you want to provide 5 for the project. So you want to begin by saying de niño or de niña, depending upon your gender. De niño, de niña, me gustaba. And then you're going to indicate your 5 verbs. You do not need to conjugate your verbs in the imperfect if you begin your response with me gustaba. If you don't begin your response with me gustaba, you just want to get right to what those activities were, then you would want to conjugate your verbs in the imperfect. And depending upon the verb that you choose, you want to use the regular endings that are on page 194 or the irregular endings that are on page 196. So it's up to you whether you want to use me gustaba. It's probably easier to do it that way. or not necessarily, or just conjugate your 5 verbs, each of those 5, and again, you have your endings right there. So, but don't do both, right? Like, for example, don't say, de niño me gustaba jugaba videojuegos, right? That's I used to like, I used to play. We don't say it that way in English, and we don't do it in Spanish. In English, we would say, I used to like to play. So, jugar, you would just leave it in the infinitive, right? Me gustaba jugar videojuegos. So don't do both. Either me gustaba, and then your verbs in the infinitive, or take out me gustaba, and your 5 verbs that you choose, conjugate those in the imperfect, just like how gustaba is conjugated in the imperfect. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Take a look at what you did for your warm-up, and I think that'll provide you with good guidance. And then reach out, tutorial, or during class, between now and when this thing is due, if you have any kind of doubt or concern. Third question was a recent warm-up question. ¿Qué era tu materia favorita y por qué? I think that was let's see, today, yeah? Very recent. The 16th if you're an A day, or the 19th if you're a B day. And really important, you want to use one adjective and one verb in your description, right? A verb to describe why, whatever class you choose, was your favorite class back in elementary school. What did you do in that class that made it your favorite? Por ejemplo, mi clase favorita era inglés porque me gustaba leer. Mi clase favorita era arte porque me gustaba pintar or dibujar, right? Mi clase favorita era educación física porque me gustaba correr o practicar deportes. Pick a verb that describes your favorite class, an activity that you used to do in that class that you really enjoyed, and then your second description is going to use an adjective. Mi clase favorita era historia porque era muy interesante. Mi clase favorita era inglés porque era fácil. Mi clase favorita era matemáticas porque era difícil. One verb and one adjective to describe your favorite class. Got 2 more questions to finish up here. ¿Participabas en un club o deporte? Did you used to participate in any clubs or sports when you were little? Sí. Yo, and then we're going to change the abas ending in participar to the yo form ending in the imperfect. For an AR verb, the yo form ending would be aba. So participabas would change to participaba. Si yo participaba in, and then maybe you've been participating in the same clubs or sports more or less since you were little. You can take a look at what you had at the beginning of the year for the key vocab there, or in chapter 1B has the extracurriculars. You can look at that vocab there. I think page 46, 47, if memory serves. Or you could not use the verb participar. You could just take another verb, jugar, bailar, correr, nadar, pues practicar, any verb, right, that talks about your extracurriculars, and conjugate that verb in the imperfect. Last question, ¿Cómo era tu familia? Is a warm-up question, I want to say from the 13th. Yeah. So 13th for B days would be April the 12th for A days. This is a long one, right? It's 4 parts to this one to describe your family. I'm looking for 3 adjectives that describe your family, your nuclear family. And make sure your adjectives end in A. because familia is feminine. 3 activities, 3 verbs to describe what you and your family used to like to do when you were younger. And again, those verbs don't need to be conjugated if you begin with le gustaba. If you just want to get right into it and say, hey, my family and I used to, and your 3 activities, then don't include le gustaba and conjugate your verbs in the imperfect. So this would be mi familia y yo íbamos a la playa, salíamos a comer y jugábamos. It's got to be one of my favorite conjugations in Spanish, right? The nosotros form of AR verbs. Jugábamos juegos de mesa. So similar to the question where you're talking about what you like to do or used to like to do, you can use gustar and then infinitives, or take out gustar and then just conjugate the verbs that you choose in the imperfect, either way. Lastly, pick 2 family members and describe what they used to be like when you were little, and make sure that your adjectives agree with the gender of the person that you're talking about. That's it, muchachos. Again, if you've done your warm-ups, this is easy, right? Just transfer from your warm-up to some sort of presentational format, whether that's a PowerPoint, you can do a poster, you can do a flip book, Google slide, you can do a video, whatever suits your fancy. Please include 2 to 3 pictures, or if you want to draw, you're welcome to draw 2 to 3 pictures per slide. They don't all need to be pictures of when you were a kid, but now I'm not going to lie to you. I appreciate it when you guys are able to tie in some of the pictures from when you were little. If you want to see an example presentation of what that might look like, you are already here at the assignment description. If you look at the assignment description, there is a hyperlink to an example presentation that was very well done. ¿Dónde está? Allá está. So click here for an example PPT. Have fun with this, guys. Enjoy going through the baby pictures with your family. It's fun, especially as you guys are getting ready to wrap up school. You guys got, for most of you, you're getting ready to, you're at the halfway point. Chill. And all the craziness that's going on right now, enjoy the process of going through these fond memories that you may have as a kid and putting it together in a presentational format of your choosing to talk about what you were like as a kid. That's the whole point of this chapter. So you can take a look at that example. Again, that can be found right here. Instructions that I went over with you can be found right here. The video you're watching can be found right here. This is due on the 28th. For those of you that are an A-Day student, 29th. If you're a B-Day student, come and see me during student tutorial. If you guys have questions, ask questions during class. Would be great as well. Yeah, and hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, like it. And subscribe to my channel too if you want to. In any case, good luck with this, muchachos. I look forward to your submissions. Hasta luego. Ciao.